You're looking at the quarantine protocols of arriving Filipinos, balikbayans, and foreign nationals from abroad. For many of you, you will undergo 6 days quarantine even if you have been fully vaccinated and you have a negative test result. It's even stricter for countries coming from red list. So yes, the Philippines is strict on their quarantine upon arrival for international travelers. So what about it? The Presidential Entrepreneurship Advisor, Joey Concepcion, said that this should be reviewed. This protocol should be reviewed. It should be eased. The international travel quarantine protocol should be eased. According to him, some countries such as Thailand and Switzerland have already eased their travel protocols. For example, in Thailand, they have announced that they will resume to quarantine-free visa program for vaccinated visitors. While in Switzerland, they will no longer require testing before travel for vaccinated or recently recovered visitors. As COVID itself is changing, our policy should also be open to re-examination. The entry requirements in the Philippines is so extensive and complicated that they put the country out of reach of international visitors and even our returning kababayans. Yes, if to follow the quarantine protocols in the Philippines, like you have to be updated every week because there's always a change. And that color restrictions every 15 days. I feel like that's getting too old. I feel like there should just be one color or two colors at least. Red list should be removed. And have you seen the latest list on red list? Oh, I couldn't believe the list, guys, when it was announced. Seriously, Canada? And then Saudi Arabia and other countries. I know of other countries with more cases. It's, tell me about this red list. It's political. Anyways, going back to Sir Joey Concepcion, he said that the hotel quarantine, facility-based quarantine, and the use of this specific type of RT-PCR test should also be revisited. Examine ulit. Kasi he said that this testing should be fast and accurate. Diba? Aside from Thailand and Switzerland, in the US, no, they do not really specifically require RT-PCR. They are kind of flexible. Like they accept antigen test. Antigen test that is taken no more than a day before your flight. Even a day before your flight is allowed. So they're kind of flexible and they don't have quarantine upon arrival. So what Sir Joey Concepcion wants to emphasize is that the Philippines can also do the job with just an antigen test taken 24 hours prior to departure. Sinasabi niya, if US can do it, we can do it as well. Actually, our vaccination rate is really very high now. Maybe within 6 months, we will have higher vaccination rate than the US. Believe it or not, guys. Thinking about it, 24 hours compared to 48 hours is better. And antigen test is more accessible. It's cheaper than RT-PCR. I've been hearing of many kababayan saying, Jennifer, saan makakuha ng 48 hours? It's really hard to find 48 hours. Oh, my flight is on Monday. There's no labs open on the weekend. Yes, mahirap po yung RT-PCR. Some kababayans are paying $150, $200 to get their test result before their flight. According to Sir Concepcion, the antigen test is more practical than waiting for RT-PCR test results, which take longer to deliver results and are more expensive. In the Philippines po, antigen test is around 600 pesos, 750 pesos, diba? Well, it's huge difference compared to 2-4 na RT-PCR. As an additional safeguard, he also suggested conducting second antigen test upon arrival. Oh, okay. So, antigen test before travel, tapos antigen test na naman upon arrival. What do you guys think about that? Like, we know that antigen test is less reliable than RT-PCR. But I think the antigen test before travel is a good idea. Really, I really support that. Kasi in other countries, they have test before travel, pero wala silang facility quarantine, hotel quarantine upon arrival. But us in the Philippines, we have tests before travel, you're fully vaccinated, and again go to the hotel, and then you get tested again. I think it's too many tests, no? And the quarantine that we are doing is like the quarantine, same with those who test positive. In the Philippines, if you test positive, you quarantine for 7 days. We're doing the same thing. Almost, just 1 day short. Sir Concepcion is also pushing for home-based quarantine over facility-based quarantines. He said that ROFWs can afford to spend their hard-earned money. ROFWs po get free quarantine hotel, so they don't really spend on the hotel. Pero they spend their precious time in the facility quarantine truth. And yeah, so many delays right now, guys, on the test results. Other countries seem to have already accepted the fact that COVID is here to stay. According to Sir Joey Concepcion, maybe it's time we practice living with COVID, or else the Philippine economy will suffer along with it, the micro, medium, and small enterprises. The advisor also warned that how the country's airlines will survive the pandemic depends largely on their policies. While the vaccines are the solution to keep the healthy nation, learning to live with COVID will revive our economy and bring back the life of our SMEs, our small businesses. One traveler shared the other day his travel experience. Philippine Airlines Honolulu to Manila flight last January 18. It was so empty. No passengers halos. And this was the same when I went home too via Singapore Airlines, guys. It was so empty. My heart broke for the airline, seriously. And Philippine Airlines is our national flag carrier. The only direct flights from the Philippines or from North America to the Philippines direct. We cannot lose them, no? Although as passenger, we are happy to see, maluwag. Wala akong katabi. We can lie down. Walang ka elbow to elbow. But to the airline, it's humongous cost. It means they would have to let go some employees. So IATF, please consider the proposal of Sir Joey Concepcion of antigen test, at least man lang yung before travel. Kasi po RT-PCR test can be hard to find. Plus, it can be very expensive abroad. And anyways, upon arrival, you put us in quarantine hotels and then you test us again. So, what was the point of that test before travel anyways? You don't even allow us to home quarantine. Plus, you say, you get exposed while on your trip. Well, how about green list travelers? They could also get exposed. Imagine on the airplane, guys. Green list traveler. Sitting next to her is a yellow list traveler. And another person near the window seat is the red list traveler. And they all eat at the same time. They take their mask off. And sometimes they talk. So, I think you remove red list, allow antigen test before travel, and even testing upon arrival sa airport, like the protocol 2020. If you can bring that back, it would really help. No, it would really free up some rooms, increase the travel caps, and boost the plane tickets po na masyado nang mahal ngayon. Like, we really want to help. We international travelers, we really want to help. Balikbayans, even if there's a pandemic, would come home as long as there is a system that is fair and organized.